Hello, this is Sabina at Cross Keys Crafts with the Visible Image Artist Trading Card Swap for July 2025, and this is actually the 50th swap. I think I have been taking part in 32. I think I counted it the other day. So, and this month's theme is not that obvious. You're actually allowed to choose one of the previous 49 themes. So I had to look through the themes that I haven't taken part in, and I chose as my theme Every Living Thing, I think it's called. I have to check it again. Because I actually decided to use this stamp set here. I purchased this only recently, although I love cats. I've got a cat, you might know that. So, but I never had sort of lots of inspiration for it. But eventually I ordered it the other day. And when I checked again today, I don't even think this is available anymore. It might have been a sale item. But sometimes the stamps disappear and then they come back. So I'm not quite sure about this. The only thing I have found with this, my idea was to have this on an ATC, is that this is actually a little bit too big, the image. But my idea is, I hope it doesn't look awkward, to move the eyes closer to each other and to move the nose and mouth up a little bit. So I will do some partial stamping on here. So do one eye first, then do the second eye, and then do that, and move my little ATC around in the meantime. If you hear some noises, it's because my cat is doing something on the floor. I'm not quite sure. I think he's moving things. Normally I use my UK Crafts 300 GSM cardstock, but this just fell into my hands. I have got this Tim Holtz Distress watercolor cardstock, and this is textured. I'm not quite sure how well I can actually stamp on this, but I will decoupage the eyes afterwards anyway. So I think I just go for it and just see how that transfers and whether I get a good stamp or whether that will be grungy, which I really like anyway, the look of. So I have aligned this so I can stamp this eye first. So I'm only inking this eye up, making sure I've already run my thumb over the stamp just in case there is any residue on it, but I normally don't have any problems with the Visible Image stamps. They're usually really good. There's no residue usually. So I think I've inked it up properly. So I hope I get a good transfer. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's fine. So what I need to do now is to move the ATC over a little bit, and the piece I have already stamped, I'm going to cover that just with some copy paper, which I had here a second ago. Sorry about that, I think I put it in the bin. So you can use a little bit of acetate or packaging if you need that. So I'm keeping it on the same level, but I'm moving it over. As you can see, I'm not 100% prepared for this today. But the only thing, I don't want this to transfer or this to stamp on it again. So all I know is that this eye is on the ATC and it should be the same height because I just moved it across. So I can stamp that now. Just checking the magnet again, yeah. Oh, but this magnet is in the way, so I need to move that over a little bit. There we go. I was thinking about maybe doing some heat embossing, but because I'm stamping this in 3 parts, I think that would be a bit awkward unless I did the pupil only and used my embossing pen on it. Yeah, it's a bit greyish there at the top. I had the same on the other side, but I put that down to the cardstock. I think I'm okay with that. So, and now I can remove this just in case there's some transfer there. I won't use that one. I'll take a new piece, and this time I'm actually cutting it. So I'm placing this now on the top. I need to move this up a little bit now. Is that right? No, I need to move it down. They are a bit wonky, but it's okay. So it might look pretty cross-eyed afterwards. We'll find out. So now I need to move it down definitely a bit more. Still trying to keep it straight. Yeah, so this would fit on there. I'm very close to the eyes though. I might have to cut them off a little bit, so I'll just move this up a little bit. Yeah, I'll just go for it. I'll see what it looks like. It might be total rubbish, and I might have to delete the footage and choose a different stamp afterwards. Yeah, I think that's okay. So let's have a look what it looks like. Yeah, I think we get away with that. It's not too cross-eyed. I think that works. I've cut the mouth off a little bit, but as you can see, you can manipulate your stamps a little bit by just partially inking them up and then putting them together like this. So I'm leaving that to dry for a moment. I will stamp the same image on a bigger piece for the main card without doing the partial stamping, so as it is intended, and then I'll show you what I've planned for the background. Here's a little laugh. I do get brain fog moments sometimes. I thought this was some sort of grass, not that it made sense, and it was only just now that it dawned on me that these are actually the whiskers. So I will have to add those to the sides here. I will just stamp these with my acrylic block, not bothering about aligning it in the stamping platform. I think this will be so much easier. But I think I will just go online for reference to see where ideally it should be stamped, how far away. I could check with my cat for reference, but I think I'll have a quick look online. I have changed my plan a little bit. At first I thought I would just work on this as a background and then stamp the eyes again, which I then could have actually stuck on anyway where I wanted them, and you know, just colour them in then. But I decided actually to cut them out or stamp them again on some Gina K masking magic, cover them up so that I can paint them green later. So this is some low-tech tape, or film I should say, like a paper, and once I get this off I can stick it on here, and what it means is whatever medium I throw on this, and I'll show you that in a moment what I would like, does not end up on the eyes because I want this to stay white. Just throwing the wrong thing away. So I have cut inside the eyes so that I can really just cover the white bits. There we go. And yeah, because that's another idea. If you don't want to stamp these things as I have, moving the ATC about, you could cut these out if you wanted to and then stick them down. That's another idea. Make sure this is the right way around. Yeah, as long as everything white is covered, that's okay. I don't mind having other colour on there. I think the nose I leave as it is, because my idea is to use some brushos on this background. I haven't used brushos in quite a while, and I thought they give a nice texture and colour. I might come in with something else afterwards, but I thought I'd start with that. Brushos, if you've never encountered them, they are some pigment powders, and they are very rich in colour, and if you apply them with a lot of water, mix them, they give a solid colour. But if you spray them or sort of powder them, or sprinkle them on top of water, you get this sort of look with lots of different colours in here. So we've got yellow, orange, even some blues in there, and this is the look I would like for my cat. So there are two ways of doing it. Either you spritz the water first and then come in with that, which is a little bit better, because if you put the powder down first and then spray, the spray usually carries the pigment powder all over the place. So definitely cover up your desk if you wanted to do that. So I'm actually spraying my water on here. The only downside is sometimes if you got, depending on the cardstock, that it warps and then the colour wants to go off the edges. So, and then I can sprinkle that on here straight from my little tub. You can see immediately it reacts. Quite a bit of black there as well. So I'm leaving that for a moment. I don't want too much to happen to it. I'll just give it its time. There will be some areas, I don't know how well the camera picks it up. There will be some areas where I've actually got the sort of granulates from the powder they're collecting. I quite like the look of that. There's some areas like here where it's already pooling. I can get some tissue in a moment and pick that up a little bit. I might even go in with a little bit of more water to move something about, but I like to leave it for the moment. So I will just switch the camera off and then I'll show you if I go in again. So I'm going in now on the edges here to pick up where the water is pooling a little bit, just to take that off. And then I want to move the colour about here where it is quite black. So I'm just adding some more water there, and I would also want a little bit at the bottom. I've got plenty of water there, so I need to dab it off as well a little bit. And I will actually tilt it, so because hopefully I've got a bit of colour running down to the bottom there, because I don't want this to be harsh white. I'll put some more paper underneath as well, just in case it goes through. So it looks a hot mess at the moment, but don't forget the eyes here, they're still white underneath, and I think there will be the important thing. Like, you can pick a little bit of colour off as well. I want to get the granules off a little bit, although I do like them as an effect. So I'm happy with that. I'm leaving that to dry. It's quite warped at the moment, but I find the longer I leave it, and if I don't use the heater on that, I think it should be okay. So I'll be doing the same with this piece here. I've cut this as a square, by the way. It was 4 1/4 in width. This is sort of American size, so I cut it to a 4 1/4 here as well. And then I will create a background to put onto a 6x6 card. For my card base here, for the big card, I'd like to use a technique that I don't think I've tried before, but I have seen it done. So I thought I'd try it on a piece of scrap paper. I want to use these 2 silhouette stamps, but I also want to use this little paw stamp and take some ink off the tummies of these cats with that little stamp, so that it looks like the cat's got a paw stamp on the middle. I'm not even sure whether that is a good look, but I give it a try. I will stamp them in black, I think, although you could use any other colour. Hopefully, I tell you what, I need to do it the other way around, but hopefully the effect will be the best. So I'm inking them up thoroughly, make sure they're saturated in ink, and then I'm using the clean stamp here and I'm placing it on the tummy. Try not to slip, and then that should take the ink off. Oh, it's very sticky. It's worked in a way. And then I can stamp this. With the VersaFine Clair, these inks stay wet quite long, so you can have a little bit of time to stamp them. Can you see? It does work, but I think this stamp is a little bit too big. I have a quick look, I think, and then you can use this one as well for stamping. No, that's dried up now. I have a look if I've got a different stamp rather than using that one. I think I've got a little hard stamp with a robot stamp set. I'll have a quick look off camera. In the end, I went with that paw stamp after all. The little heart was nice, but then I thought I'd just leave the paw stamp there. But I want to put some colour down in the background of this card, so I thought I'd come in with my gel press. This is not big enough to fill the whole card, but I'll just show you the square I've created. I don't think I've shown that yet on the video. For this one, I went for some red and some yellow brush house because I thought it looks a bit like a ginger cat. This is still quite damp. I'm leaving that to dry a little bit longer. My original idea was to just place it on here. Well, the original thought was to have it in the middle, but obviously I've got the cats here now. Then I thought I'd just move it up. But I thought, why not go bonkers and have this at an angle like this? Because then the cats fit there nicely. And I thought I can use the sentiment here, stay curious, and put one word there, one word there. I've already cut that apart to stamp later. I thought something different. If I had planned ahead, I could have stamped this that way, but never mind. I just quite like playing with this at the moment. So, but to put colour down, I thought I can sort of, halve this sheet thinking about it because you won't see how it disappears here. I have actually cut myself a little template, so I've got an idea where I need to put colour down to start with. And I thought I'm going to use a little technique similar to what I've done here, and that is to take ink off the gel press once I have put it down. So I only really need to concentrate of having some, well, at least the pattern, the stamp in the corners. I don't need to bother about the middle too much. And I have just chosen one colour, which is the Lavinia Stamps Russet Orange. I thought that is bound to go with this. It looks like Ginger Cat. Oops. Did you hear that? That's my water bottle just falling off the table. So I'm just inking up my brayer. I'm loosely sort of rolling it over here. And then I'm putting the ink onto my press. Again, very loosely running, but making sure I've got it on the edges because I need the full width. But I only need to go down sort of halfway. I might just roll it out a little bit. So, and usually when you think you haven't got much ink on it, there is plenty on here. So, and what I'm doing now with this stamp is I'm going to press it on there, try not to slip, and stamp it off. The tricky thing here will be to remember where I've actually already done that. So I'm just working my way from one side to the other. You can see there is ink coming off. So as I said, I don't need to bother too much in the middle. So I think you get the idea. So I will do the rest off camera, and then I will show you how I stamp the background with it. So to avoid going over the middle line and creating like stripes where I don't want them, I will actually put a piece of paper down here. So I'm just eyeballing this. I'd like to go a little bit over the middle, but not too much. And then I can pick up my gel press, and I will actually turn it over, trying not to put my fingers on it. I'm holding it on the acetate that's still stuck behind it. I've just put my finger in it, but I think I'm okay with it. And I'm just placing this down here now. Just applying a little bit of pressure. And then I'll see, I tell you what, I'll turn the whole sandwich over. Then I can apply a little bit of pressure from this side as well, and then it's easier to take it off. There we go. So I've got the paw prints in there. I have got these areas, and they are from when I pick up the ink off the ink pad. Sometimes the pattern remains on it, but I don't mind that because that will be covered anyway. So I think this is pretty cool. So I'll do the same again for the bottom, trying to overlap just here in the middle so it won't show. And I might come in a little bit with a stencil, but I don't know that yet. So here's my background panel. Obviously you wouldn't have a harsh line if you've got a gel plate that is big enough. I did find, by the way, that stamping the paws across rather than leaving them out in the middle made it easier for me to stay in one line, so you might just well do that. So I did decide to come in with a little bit of stenciling, but just on the sort of edges, or rather than a frame for this actual picture. For that, I have cut myself a little template of my middle panel. I have, by the way, I have cut this down another 1/4 inch, so it's only 4 by 4 now, because when I put it sideways I did not want it to overhang. And I've cut this paper piece just a little bit smaller, so that gives me an idea where I actually want to apply the ink, because I don't want to lose the pattern here, but I'd like a little bit of a frame around here. So I'm just placing my stencil down. I might actually put it sideways. No, I'll leave it like this, but I might have moved it, might have to move it over because I've got this edge here. And I'm not quite sure about my colour choice, but I decided to come in with a vintage photo. I just like the idea of having just a hint of brown there. I want to stay within the sort of cat colours. So all I'm doing is I'm really just putting some ink down here, not too much. I'll just show you what it looks like when I lift it up like that. Can you see? It's really just a hint of a frame, but not taking away from the paws behind that. So, and I'm doing this all the way around now. Sorry, I'll just do this side first. Don't want to cover the cats. So, and then I move the stencil over just a little bit and do this side. My thought for introducing the numbers was, because we've got 50 swaps, I thought they're sort of, you know, reminiscent of the different numbers of swaps we had. So I really like that. And when this sits on top, that you will just about see those numbers there. I think it's quite nice, and it gives a sort of shading. I might cut this down just a wee bit more. I'll have a think. I might do some ink blending around that, but I decide that off camera. I want to do just 2 things now before I stick this down. I want to do the reveal with the eyes. I want to show you how I colour in the eyes, but one thing I need to do first, and I forgot to do that when I cut this down in my guillotine, you need to take the loose powder off the top, because this rubs off. So I will just, no, I'll tell you what, I'll come in with a tissue rather than my what's it called, cotton pad here, because this will come off in your guillotine, it will come off on the recipient's fingers. Can you see how much is still left there? That's the loose powder that has not been moved about with the water. That's just sitting on top. So we need to take that off. And that just comes off really, really loosely. Sorry, easily. And then we don't have much transfer. So I'm taking a different piece for this here. It gives a nice texture, but I think if you want to send it in the post and it's likely to come off on the recipient hands, that's not a good look. So it's not that much coming off this one, but I've got quite a bit of powder on my piece of paper here as well. So I can now take the masks off. And I'll actually use my tweezers for that. See, oh, it has actually bled a little bit underneath. Normally the masking magic is quite good for that, but I don't mind it. Can you see? Oh, it's coming there a little bit. I think I'll work with that, see how the black one worked, because we used quite a bit of water. This one's a bit better. Yeah, that's much better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to colour this in with a green pen, most likely my Zig markers, and this one, probably a different green one that goes with that. I might colour in the nose as well, although, yeah, I'll have a look if I want a pink nose on this one maybe. And as I said, then I might do some ink blending around this before I stick it down on the card base. I have coloured in the eyes. I have used the ZigBrush marker. This is 41 light green, and I think then the eyes and the cat really come to life. I think this is great. So I avoided all these spots that are supposed to be white, and I like the reflections. For the nose, I have used number 21, that's the light carmine. But I wasn't quite sure where the nose ends, so what I did was I put a little bit of water on my acrylic block, and I used a brush and I painted in until about there, and then I used the water to drag the colour down, so I get a little bit of a faded look. It fades out there, and I thought that was much better. On this one here, because the red had leaked into the eye, I actually used my white Posca pen to sort of go over this again. It is now sort of pink, it's not really white because the brusher powders mix with the Posca pen, but I think it's okay. I used the same colours here. Obviously the nose blends in a little bit more. But as a last thing, oh sorry, two more things I need to tell you. I have gone round the edges here, just did some ink blending, you can see it underneath with the vintage photo, just to sort of set it off and give it a little bit of dimension. I have coloured in the paws with an orange here, that's number 52, bright yellow actually it's called, but it looks orange. I have stamped the sentiment. This one's a bit faded, but that's okay. But as a last thing, I thought I will use my glossy accents on the eyes. I will not do this on camera. I need to take my time for that. I need to put my nose above this and my eyes. I'm getting a bit long-sighted. But I have got videos on my channel where I show in detail how to use that. I'm sure there are other crafters out there that have got videos up for that. So I will do this. I will leave it to dry for 24 hours. And then I will assemble the card in the morning, and I will video or film my outro. It is the next day, and my glossy accent has dried really, really nicely. Can you see the shine on the nose and the eyes? I think this is really cool. I'm really pleased with this. And this one, look how cute that is. And I think it doesn't make a difference whether you've got the eyes like this closer together. I actually prefer this a little bit. It gives a sort of an adult cat look, and that's more a bit like a kitten. Definitely doesn't make a difference, doesn't look weird at all. So yeah, I'm really pleased with those. I hope I could show you quite a few techniques, things that you can do with brushos, stamping on a gel plate, taking ink off stamps. So I hope there's a lot of ideas for you, even if this stamp set's maybe not available anymore. Yeah, if you like my tutorial, you might want to give me a thumbs up, and if you'd like to see more of what I'm creating, you might want to subscribe to my channel. I'd be very happy about that, and I'll see you soon with another video.